Regalia tonight, and in judging talent, there was a disruption in 1492. So some of our traditions and some of those things were lost. They were disrupted. They weren't passed down. And so when you do regalia tonight, and I know you already know this, just think about what period that dress represents and think about that evolution. A good example of that is all of us as people in North Carolina, no matter who we are, we use the water, we use the ocean. Those were things that we use, fishing, baptism, whatever it may be. And I saw as a kid, my grandpa deep sea fishing every other weekend. He wouldn't let me go, but he went. As a child, we would go for family reunions and fish fries, and then as I became older, I went to go party, or I went to go but I was still going to the coast. And so we still do the traditional things, but they evolved and they're modern. So some of us may go to the outlets now and go hang out, but before, our ancestors went for different reasons, so we're still doing those things. When you judge tonight, just think about those periods of the dress and those periods of those traditions and the things that have been passed down and the things that have been disrupted, because sometimes we create traditions and that's okay because we need something to pass down to our children. For instance, the Lumbee work dress. We all shared a work dress without a pine cone patchwork, but the Smithsonian said, hey, there's a design among the Lumbee that is only significant to the Lumbee, and it happens to be on a quilt. So they had the quilt and the dress and created a baby. And now, in the mid-90s, they created the Lumbee patchwork dress. And it's similar to many other tribes that have created dances and things of that nature. For instance, I can speak to you in Tuscarora, Jouet, Jutnike. I said, hello, I'm April. Beaver. Was my mother Beaver Clan? Was my grandmother Beaver Clan? No, they weren't. That was disrupted. But that is a tradition that people are adopting in, just as the Lumbee dress and just as other traditions as well. We have to recreate and we have to rebirth these things in order to survive. And that's why a lot of from remnant tribes and we together to survive, and we're all related. All right, enough of that. Let's get into regalia. Our first contestant is Miss Brianna Jacobs Polanco. And she is the 21-year-old daughter of Tabitha Jacobs Polanco of Greensboro. She is a member of the Lumbee tribe and a student at UNC Greensboro majoring in social work, where she is a member of the Native American Student Association.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brianna Tatsigamure Jacobs Polanco. I am wearing a traditional Lumbee dress. The first Lumbee dress was created in 1993. It was designed by Mr. Hayes Allen Locklear and constructed by Miss Cat Little Turtle. At the time, traditional Lumbee women wore buckskin and tea dresses in the dance arena. But Mr. Locklear felt that Lumbee women should have a dress that was indicative to them as a people. Such as the regalia tells a story about the person wearing them. My regalia tells a story as well. I chose calico prints. Calico and muslin fabrics were used in the original dress to represent European contact amongst indigenous people in Robeson County. I am wearing a long sleeve, floor-length dress. This not only represents modesty amongst Native women, but our grandmothers wore dresses similar to these to protect their arms and legs while working out in the fields. On my chest, I have a Lumbee pinecone patchwork design, and I also have a design on the pocket of my apron. The aprons were very important to Lumbee women. Our grandmothers were often seen wearing aprons, whether it was cooking that good chicken and pastry and collard greens, or whether it was out in the field. Whether it was out in the field, picking those peach, or whether it was a chicken coop, gathering eggs. And no Lumbee women would ever leave the home without a ball of twine in their pocket, or without a bit of snuff in their pocket. While I do not chew tobacco or dip snuff myself, Today I am carrying a tobacco bundle in honor of my cousin Jacob. This ball of twine, I can use this to tie stuff up if I wanted to. It's like our grandmother's version of duct tape. In my hair, I am wearing eagle floppies that were gifted to me. And my hair is in the traditional bun with a sterling silver barrette of black onyx stone. These buns were traditional to our women, for they put their hair up in their buns to keep it out of their face during their chores. I am also wearing a strand of chinaberry beads. Chinaberries were originally cultivated for medicinal purposes, but now they can be more of a fashion statement. In my right hand, I carry an eagle fan. In my left arm, I am holding a hand-print shawl with a lumpy pinecone patchwork. And on my feet, I am wearing elk-skin moccasins. The floppies, shawl, fan, and moccasins are additions to the regalia to make it appropriate for the dance arena. I would like to take this time to thank my mother, for this is her first lumpy dress. And she did such a good job, and I want to thank her right now. Thank you so very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Miss Brianna. Next, we have contestant. Judges, are you guys okay? Yeah, okay. All right, next we have contestant number 2, Miss Samantha Brooke Lanning. Samantha is a 22-year-old daughter of Catherine and Pablo Simmons Alonzo of Clinton, North Carolina. She is a member of the Kahari tribe. She is a student at Sampson Community College majoring in early childhood education. Please welcome Miss Samantha.
Hello everyone and welcome. My Indian name is Kosa Kente, Heart of Beauty. I am wearing a handmade buckskin traditional regalia. I have been a Southern traditional dancer since I was a tiny child. Throughout my regalia, you will see a single cross design that represents Christ our Savior, and the 3 crosses represents Christ and the 2 thieves on Calvary Hill. The color brown represents the crown of thorns and the wooden cross. Gray, all the sins of the world. White, righteousness and purity. Red, the blood of Jesus. And blue, forgiveness and the native tear. On the left side of my head, over my heart, I am wearing an eagle scalp drop. In the back of my head, I am wearing an eagle plume. I have on beaded hair barrettes, earrings, choker, scarf tie, hair ties, backdrop, belt, leggings, and moccasins that were hand-beaded by my mother, my uncle, and I. I am wearing a breastplate made of ivory bones and glass beads. To accent my belt, I have a knife pouch on my left hip and a turret pouch on my right. I am going to turn now so you can see the back of my regalia. On my right hand is my beaded slave bracelet that I hand-beaded. It represents our ancestors' bondage, and the crosses represents that Christ is always with me. In my right hand, I am carrying my eagle fan and my pouch that has my favorite Bible verse on it, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. On my left arm is my brown shawl with blue fringe. This completes my regalia. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Samantha. Next we have contestant number 3, Miss Savannah Baber. Miss Savannah is the 18-year-old daughter of Louis and Kim Baber of Garner. She is a member of the Lumbee tribe. She is a senior at Garner Magnet High School. Contestant number 3.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Savannah. For me, growing up, my regalia has always been a way to tell a story, not only about my people, but about my personality and about my family and our tribe, and how we preserve our traditions and our culture, even today. For me, the Lumbee Pinecone Patchwork Regalia represents the innovation of the Lumbee tribe and the Lumbee people. The regalia was created by a person who felt that we needed to look into our history in order to move into our future, and that is something that I carry with me as well. It is always important to hold on to who you have been in order to know who you will be. For me, this regalia, the colors in it, represent pieces of my personality. They are very bright colors because I like to think of myself as a bright person, and my family has raised me to be someone who always tries to light up a room with compassion and kindness. The blue in the regalia represents water, to represent that the Lumbee people are the people of the dark water. Water is something that has been important to our people over every age, and it will continue to be. The pink represents, again, the way that a personality can brighten another person's day, and how we should always be trying to relate to other people in our daily lives. The yellow represents the sun, and like Samantha, it is a way for me to connect to my faith through the sun and the Son, Jesus Christ, who lightens every room and can brighten up anybody's day. In my hand, I hold a red hawk fan. This is something that can be gifted to a person upon a great accomplishment. It is an honor to receive something of this worth, and it is an honor for me to hold it today as a representation of my past and who I am today. My shawl has all the colors that I have described for you already as an extension of my regalia. The shawl is important. It is also a representation of who you are. The apron represents, like Brianna was saying, the way our people lived. They are simple, but they are efficient. They can work in the fields, and they can go to church, and they can look wonderful doing both. And so that is why I wear this regalia proudly, because I know that it represents not only me, but my mother, and my grandmother, and my aunts, and my sisters, and the women to come. And it is a pleasure to be able to wear a garment that holds so much worth. So thank you for listening to what my regalia means to me.
Today, I will be demonstrating the creation of a pinecone patchwork design. Originally, during times of trade, our ancestors didn't always get the best fabrics. They would get the scraps, the remnants, the undesirables. They would get the scraps, the remnants, and the undesirables. But my people were resourceful enough to take what some people would think as unusable and to create what we consider beautiful works of art today. And not only they were beautiful, they were practical. These designs would be used in blankets and quilts. My people drew their inspiration from nature. When you go down to Robertson County, what's the first thing you think of? When I go down back home, I think of pine cones. Every time I go down home, the more and more pine cones I see, and the more and more pine trees I see, I know that I'm feeling closer to home. This is where my ancestors drew their inspiration to create the pinecone patchwork. Do you see how my apron resembles the bottom of this longleaf pine cone? To begin, I have this pile of scraps. This pile of scraps actually came from regalias that my mom's made in the past. I would tell her, "Mama, why do you keep this stuff? It's not like you're ever going to use it again anyway. And she would say, Brianna, you know I don't throw anything away. I'm going to use it someday. So here I am, making pine cones from her scraps. So what we would begin is we would take our scraps and we would create uniform squares. These squares were eventually turned into the triangles we used for the pine cone. I would fold it once, and then I would fold it twice. And these are what we use in our pine cones. My first step is I would take 4 of these triangles and place them thusly to create a square. This square will be the center of our pine cone. And as I keep going on, I would stitch each of these layers down. I want to change up my pattern a little bit. So I add a different color. I have to add 8 squares, 8 triangles to create the star pattern that you see. I want to make my circle even bigger. So I add 8 more of these triangles. You know, I can remember where every one of these fabrics came from. This coral color was used in one of my sister's regalias, so it just makes sense. Every pine cone tells a story. So, you're kind of wondering, this does not really look like a circle yet, does it? It looks kind of funny. But don't worry, I'm going to show you guys how to make that famous circle we all know. Finally, what I would do is instead of using 8 squares, 8 triangles, I use 16 triangles. And I lay them out thusly, beginning my circle. Now, you could go on and create your circle even larger, but I'm going to end it right here. To finish it off, what you would do is instead of placing your triangles inward, you would place them outwards to create the points like you see on my apron. Our final step in creating the pine cone patchwork is to add a ring of fabric. This not only hides the seams, but it completes the circle and finishes my story. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. That was contestant number 1, Brianna Jacobs Polanco of Greensboro, and I'm going to give them just a second so we can set up for our next contestant. I will see you. Alrighty, our next contestant is contestant number 2, Samantha Brooke Lanning. While she's getting set up, she is going to be storytelling about the Kahari quilters while demonstrating quilting. And I have to say, I was tickled pink to see Miss Joyce today on the 5th floor. I haven't seen her in years, and then a lot of the Kaharis took care of me when I worked with ETS, and I ate really good during those quiltings at the tribal school, so thank you so much.
Hello, I'm going to do my traditional talent on quilting and storytelling. As you may know, in the Kahari community, our singers are known for their quilts. I would like to share a little piece of the Kahari quilter story with you. As I sit here tonight, I remember stories that had been passed down from my elders as we sat around the quilter's rack. I've learned that in the summer, the women would work the fields to store food for the winter, and once it got cool, they would then start quilting. They would take turns at each other's home, a quilt rack was set up, and everyone gathered around to help. While the women quilted, the the children will play under the quilt. Today, we are able to purchase the patterns in the designs and colors that we desire. However, not so long ago it wasn't that way. They had to use whatever they had on hand, such as scraps, old clothes that the children had on wrong, pants, shirts. They also used overalls. They would then cut them out in squares and sew them together to make the quilt top. The very first time I quilted using a print stitch pattern, I held my needle in an angle. My stitches came out slanted. The elders that told me how to quilt explained that usually they would take the stitches out. However, they were going to leave mud in so I could see my progress from when I started. The correct way to quilt is put one hand under the quilt, pick a spot alongside your pattern, and you're going to push it through. Once the needle hits the tip of your finger, pull it through, and you're going to use this hand on top to feel where the needle is, and you're pushing it back through. And you're going to go as close to the other stitch as you can. Your stitches should be short, neat, and straight. Mother, daughter, grandmother, granddaughter, aunts, cousins, and friends. For generations, women have quilted together. They've shared stories, sung songs, traded recipes, and yes, they talked about their men, all while stitching and pulling the threads through the cloth. Your quilt is a part of you and your family. This part of you will live to tell your story for generations. Because of the seniors, these stories will live on. So remember, the next time you see a quilt, it is not just a quilt. Every quilt has a story to tell. Take the time to listen to your elders so that the stories will continue on. While you're here this week, take a few minutes out of your time and visit the quilt room and look at all the amazing quilts. Don't let traditions end with you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight I am honored to be bringing you a story from my people about the symbolism of our sacred eagle feathers. In the beginning, God gave the animals and wisdom, knowledge, and the power to talk to men. The wild animals and the little wild spirit would teach a chosen man songs and dance, and much ritual and more. The most loved creature by God was the eagle, for this great bird tells the story of our lives on earth. For the eagle lays only 2 eggs, and everything in the world is divided into 2. There is man and woman, or male and female, and this is true for all creatures. Animals, plants, birds, trees, all of these creatures give birth to 2 kinds of children so that life itself may continue. Man has 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 hands, 2 feet, a body, and a soul, or substance and shadow. With his eyes, he can see both pleasant and unpleasant things.
With his ears, he can hear both joyful and sad news. With his nose, he can smell both good and bad odors. His mind is divided into good and evil. With his right hand, he may commit many acts of evil, such as starting war or striking another person's face in anger. But his left hand, which is near to his heart, is full of kindness. And so then, his left foot will lead him down the right path, while his right foot may lead him down a path of destruction. And so it is with all men. We have both light and dark, day and night, summer and winter, war and peace, and life and death. To remember this lesson, look to the great eagle, the favorite bird of God. For this bird has feathers that are divided into two parts, light and dark. The light, the white part, represents the bright and cheery days of summer, and the black represents the cold, dark days of winter, just as man himself has both daylight and darkness, and summer and winter. My children, my elders, my people, remember this lesson, for it is you who will choose the path in life that you will follow. Thank you.
People, not only of North Carolina, but all people that they come in contact with. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask that you join me in welcoming contestant number 1, which is Miss Brianna Jacobs Polanco. Brianna is the 21-year-old daughter of Miss Tabitha Jacobs Polanco of Greensboro, North Carolina. Brianna is actually from the Lumbee tribe and is a student at UNC Greensboro, where she's majoring in social work. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the platform Miss Brianna.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brianna Tatsimude Jacobs Polanco. Education is the path to self-determination. Self-determination is the process where people can control their destiny in life. And when people can control their destinies, they can not only survive, but they can thrive. And when they thrive, these same people can help provide a hand up and turning other people's stumbling blocks into stepping stones. From the beginning, my path in life was mired in stumbling blocks. I am certain, from the outside, it was considered that I was considered to be a stereotype. Coming from a home with an alcoholic father, grandparents in Robinson County who never received formal educations, and a mother who never went to a four-year institution, society told me that as a Native American, I would be the same. I knew that if I wanted a better future for myself, I would have to do whatever it took to break the cycle. And for me, it was getting that four-year degree. I had to educate myself and what it would take for me to attend college. And even though I've changed my major and transferred schools twice, 4 years later, here I am. I have experiences in life to complete my goal of becoming a licensed counselor. It doesn't matter how many years it takes. It doesn't matter how many changes I make to my career path, as long as I believe in myself and keep going on. I've learned that the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant, but it's what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are. I turn my stumbling blocks into stepping stones, and anyone else can do the same. Your life will not be handed to you on a silver platter. Whatever your goals in this life are, you must be determined enough to make them happen. A championship powwow dancer doesn't become a champion by sitting at home and never practicing. A champion becomes a champion by doing. You must educate yourself on the dances from more experienced, seasoned dancers. And you must educate yourself on the proper protocol associated with entering a dance arena. In the same way, a doctor doesn't become a doctor by dropping out of high school and never bothering with college. A doctor becomes a doctor by getting that education and educating themselves through their medical residencies. A mechanic doesn't become a mechanic by wishing alone. A mechanic becomes a mechanic by educating themselves in their craft and educating themselves what it would take for them to receive their certifications. While I understand a formal 4-year degree might not be for everyone, there is always another path. There are trade schools, community colleges. There are work-study programs in the military. I want everyone to find your passion in life and learn how to succeed in it. If Crown Miss Indian, North Carolina, I would like to take this opportunity to travel to all 8 tribes in the state of North Carolina to speak on self-determination. My goal is to partner with individuals and help them find what they're passionate at and gather resources on that, so help them become successful in something they love. Our native ancestors did not live through years of heartache and genocide just to watch their native descendants not live to their fullest potential. Educate yourself about your culture. Educate yourself about the struggles your ancestors went through. This will give you that basis to succeed. We should do them and ourselves proud by taking back control of our own lives and breaking the stereotype that society puts on American Indians. We can no longer be a silent nation. Thank you.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, each of our contestants will just come forth and parade themselves in front of you so that you can take a good look. I'm going to say parade because this is a festive time for us, ladies and gentlemen. What beautiful, beautiful Indian women we have in this room. Also would like to add that Brianna is actually a member of the Guilford Native American Association One Spirit Dance Team. She's a traditional ladies dancer. She's also very, very talented in sewing, applique, and beadwork. And I think she gets that from her mom. Look at the beautiful, beautiful dress that her mom created for her tonight. A big, big round of applause for contestant number 1, Brianna. Thank you, Brianna. At this time, we're going to be bringing forth contestant number 2, Samantha Brooke Lanning. She is the 21-year-old daughter of Catherine and Pablo Simmons Alonzo. They are from Clinton, North Carolina, and of course from the Coharie tribe. She is a student of Sampson Community College, majoring in early childhood education. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you contestant number 2, Samantha Lanning.
Good evening, everyone. Just a few generations ago, American Indians did not have the opportunities to go to school and get an education as we do today. They were mistreated and stereotyped daily, as we still are today as American Indian people. To help provide for their families, American Indian children were working before their education. Today, American Indian children have the opportunity to go to school and get the education they need to be successful in their future. Research has shown that among American Indian children, self-esteem has a direct effect on their academic achievement and persistence in school. American rates. Based on a study done by the State Advisory Council on Indian Education, the annual dropout rate among the American Indian population has been a big concern across the state for many years. The report also stated that American Indian males drop out at a higher rate than American Indian females. It is our place to assure our American Indian children of their abilities to succeed academically. We need to continue to lower the dropout rates and make sure each student has all the tools they need to succeed. So if you see a child struggling, please contact your local Indian Ed coordinator, teacher, or school counselor for more assistance. Thank you.
Again, Miss Samantha is from the Coharie tribe, and she volunteers at the Tribal Center with elders and youth. She's also a woman's traditional dancer. And I must say that I've been to a lot of powwows, and each of the girls that are here competing for the title of Miss Indian North Carolina, I've seen them on the powwow trail quite a bit. So no matter who wins tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have an awesome representative. Thank you so much, Samantha. Our next contestant number 3, is Miss Savannah Baber, She's the 18-year-old daughter of Lewis and Kim Barber. She's a member of the Lumbee tribe and a senior at Garner Magnet High School. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Miss Savannah.
First, I would like to take a moment and thank each and every one of you here who has been attending the conference over the past 2 days for being so warm and welcoming. It has truly been a blessing to be a part of this experience, as this is my first time here, and I promise it won't be my last now. I've enjoyed every moment, and it's been an honor to get to meet each and every one of you. As I stand out before this crowd, I look out and I see so many beautiful Native people, all different tribes, all different shades of brown, all different types. And I have to ask you, have you ever walked into a room where you have not seen another face like yours? Have you ever been asked, what are you? What about, if you're Indian, why is your hair curly? Yeah. There are no simple answers to these questions. But I do think it's important to consider why we get asked them so often. I grew up in a town where I didn't see people that looked like me every day. And so I came across these questions many times. I had to ask myself why. Why don't they know who I am? And then I realized it's because I don't look or dress like Pocahontas. It's sad, but it's true. People outside of our communities don't know what we look like anymore. They don't know that we have moved into the 21st century right beside them. And we've done a mighty good job at it, I must say. That is why I believe that cultural awareness is so important to our people right now. Not only awareness of ourselves, but taking that awareness and using it to educate others and making them aware as well. It is the way that we will gain respect, and it is the way that we will get important conversations started. I want our Native people to be at the center of important political conversations. I want people to understand that we are America's first people. We are the foundation, and we will not crack. We are and will continue to be at the forefront of America's progress. So when people ask those questions, I want to encourage our youth to follow the path set by our elders and preserving our culture so that we can show those people our regalia. We can tell them about all of our tribes. And then right along with that, we can show them our doctor's coats, our college degrees, our business suits, and our Sunday dresses. Because the whole entire world deserves to know the greatness that is Native America. Because we are successful and we will continue to be. So take pride in who you are, every piece of who you are, from your skin, to your hair, to where you're from, to your tribe, to your regalia, to every degree you might hold. Every part of it that makes you who you are, tell the world. Because in order for us to continue moving forward and to continue to be the proud Indigenous people that we are, we have to remind people that we are still here and we're not going away. So thank you. So thank you for having us all this week. And I'd like to leave you with an old Crow proverb. It says, "You already have everything necessary to be great." So let's continue to be great.
Ladies and gentlemen, Savannah is also a member of the Native American Student Organization, History Club, Beta Club, New Bethel Baptist Youth Group. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to say that, you know, standing up here listening to these young ladies speak and speak so bold before this crowd, it's bone chilling to me. It really is. Sit back and think, you know, what will become of our Indian nations? You know, sometimes we come across adults and youth who are not interested at all in our culture, and it's sad. But this is proof and confirmation that not only will United Tribes survive, but all of our individual Indian nations will stand solid for future to come. So I want to thank you guys. I want to thank these young ladies. Again, they've done an excellent, excellent job here as contestants for Miss Indian North Carolina. And again, no matter who walks away with the crown here tonight, we will have an awesome, awesome year, an awesome representative. And let's give them another big round of applause. Special presentation by Miss India, North Carolina. This is actually a little bit of a surprise that she put together for United Tribes, all of our people here tonight, as well as in respect and honor of the former Miss India, North Carolinas. And while she's getting ready here, I would just like to take the opportunity to ask any and all of our former Miss India, North Carolinas that may be here in the banquet with us tonight, please stand and be recognized. Reception for former Miss India, North Carolinas, as well as our current princesses of our respective tribes, as well as contestants. We all met in one room today and had refreshments and lunch, and it was a wonderful, wonderful experience, a time to share, a time to reflect, a time to give a little bit of advice and encouragement, but also a time to recruit. So I want to take the time and opportunity to say to all of you young ladies, young women that are out in the audience tonight, to please consider being a part of this pageant next year. We would be glad to have you, and we have a committee that's being put together, and we're continuing to work on that committee, and I think next year is going to be even better. So again, a big round of applause for the committee and everybody who's had a hand in this pageant. It takes a lot. I'd also like to take the opportunity to ask our judges that are here tonight for the pageant to please stand, and let's have a big round of applause for them as well. I can only say that I'm so glad I was asked to speak and not to judge. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just bubbling over. Again, like I stated before, these ladies have done an awesome job, and all of you are already winners. You know, with or without the crown, you are still a representative of our people. I want everyone to realize how important all of these positions are. Our first runner-up position as well as our second runner-up position. You know, you can't be in 2, 3, 4, 5 places at a time. So it's always good to have others that can support and back you up. Even though there's going to be one person to take that crown from this building tonight, again, we're still representatives. And I'm going to say that to our male Native Americans as well. You all are representatives as well. It just doesn't have to be our princesses. You know, I can remember a time when the elders used to talk about how shy and timid our women were, and now look at us. You know, we just come up grabbing I think sometimes these days we've gotten so bold with it that our men are starting to be the ones to sit a little quiet. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but we're all representatives. I'm not going to hold you guys any longer. I know that you're really, really excited, so we're going to go ahead and announce the winners at this time. We're going to start with our second runner-up. And the second runner-up for Miss Indian North Carolina 2015-16 is Samantha Lanning. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, first runner-up, Brianna Polanco. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time I present to you the 2015-2016 Miss Indian North Carolina, Savannah. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much, and we do know that all of you are very anxious to come up and congratulate the girls, but we are